And you've got one word to say in this, and the word is...
Spaghetti.
Well done, spaghetti is the word.
Have you ever wondered whether you could go into acting? Is there a nagging thought at the back of your head saying, I think I've got the qualities to be an actor? In this interview, we talked to Adrian Annis to find out what it was like for him leaving his job, participating in acting classes, acting on stage, and finally his career in film and in British soaps.
I did my degree in business economics, which was the most boring thing I've ever done in my entire life. The only way I got through it, and I'll talk in front of the camera, the only way I got through it is that I studied it in Cambridge, and I just basically, because I knew all the weed dealers in the area, I was able to get all the weed for all the students there, and I ended up sort of passing my exams by them sort of me out bits and pieces, and I ended up getting
what coursework and stuff.
I ended up getting a 2-2, and I didn't deserve it. Even now, in my dreams, I still dream that I'm at university and asking people when's the next lecture.
What, like some sort of post-traumatic stress?
Yeah, because I didn't deserve it at all. I didn't work whatsoever. But that was my sort of thing.
So would you say your upbringing was like a rural upbringing, or was it?
Well, I lived in Enfield, which is like a suburb of sort of London there, and that was the typical suburb really. It was, it's almost like taking Haverhill, which is our local town, and putting it on the outskirts of kind of London. It was that kind of
that shit.
upbringing. Yeah, it was that crap. It was that crap. And it wasn't until we moved out here, because my mum and dad always really wanted to move out to the country. My mum, she used to run the garden centre, the garden nursery here. So for her, that was her kind of dream. And also having all the land and that we've got. So my initial years were very, very suburban. Then I was at boarding school, which is a whole other sort of story there. and then here, which when I was young, I hated it here. I was so bored that I dreamt about leaving, and then I went from that and then lived in Battersea, Clapham, which is bang in the centre of London, a bit of greenery around it, and then I lived there for about 10 years.
It's not South Cambridgeshire green, is it?
Oh God, not even close, not even close. And then weirdly enough, I was spending more time coming back here, and I realised how much I missed this place. That now I couldn't really imagine living in an urban sort of environment. My girlfriend, she's got a place in Amersham, and that's very nice, but that is a bit rural, a bit suburban. So I spent, because a lot of the studios are around that area, you've got Elstree, Pinewood, Warner Brothers, all of that when I'm working, it's sometimes best easier to stay there.
I mean, I definitely understand what you mean about wanting to be somewhere green. I mean, I've always lived in the countryside. I was in London last week at Brixton watching a band play. And like stayed the night. Had a great couple of nights. But then when I got on the train, got back, past you just get past the M25 and it's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just literally. I mean, I've been basing myself in Cambridge the last week. Literally just driving, just getting on the A505 from the A1M. It's just
lovely.
I do miss being here when I'm not here.
So just before we sort of leave your upbringing and everything, have you got any brothers or sisters?
No, it's just me.
And you were sent to boarding school? I was
sent to boarding school, yeah.
So what was that like?
Well, it was the Quaker school, even though my families aren't Quaker. And it's nothing like you'd expect. Sort of when you think of boarding school, you think of a very strict regime and stuff like that. Well, I mean,
especially Quakers. Yeah. I mean, I've always thought Quakers don't celebrate a lot.
It's almost like Amish, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't. It was the most relaxed thing there. And I loved being a boarder because I had all the freedom. I could sort of like... That sounds weird, being a boarder and freedom, but when you're at that age, you're still under your parents' glare.
Yeah.
Your parents go, okay, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. At boarding school, there wasn't that. So I had this certain freedom, and being like an only child as well, your parents are a bit more kind of stricter with you. So I was away from that. So suddenly I had so much freedom, and I loved it there. I actually tried being a day scholar there to do A-levels, and I didn't like it.
So you're saying then that you're one of the few people who loved going to boarding school and don't blame their parents for it?
Yeah, because it gave me a freedom. The school was not very good. but I love the freedom of being a boarder. That, you know, that I tried for 1 year to do A levels and be a day scholar here and go, and I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
I could not. And that's when I realised the only thing I liked about boarding school was actually being a boarder.
Was acting ever a part of your life when you were when you were at boarding school or when you were younger?
No, when I was very young, because I was an only child and we lived in quite a dumpy, crappy area really. You know, my parents didn't allow me to go out, didn't allow me much kind of freedom. So I was very much by myself there. So I was stuck in my own imagination. So all I was doing was just making games and making stories up my entire time. You know, like, it's going to sound crazy, like Action Men, Star Wars figures. Just constantly, when I got home from school, I was in that world. And that is me making my own sort of films, my own plays, my own. And that's what really got me into it there from a young age. I'll be doing the voices, doing everything there, making these stories. These stories that go on for hours, and sort of my entire evenings would be lost. So I suppose that is where the real seed of it started. And also because I just watched loads of TV and loads of films. But when I was quite young, I was playing a lot of sport as well. And sport is the biggest drama, the biggest performance ever. I mean, in my humble opinion, you get more drama from a sporting event. Even just playing local village cricket, you can have one of these days where it's just all this drama happens, and you can write a play to that, write a film, and the emotions of you being involved in that. And if you're on the sidelines watching, like down in the kind of bowl, you see some amazing things, amazing storylines.
All right, so you went to university and you blagged your way through a business degree.
Which I actually think what I did was, you know, should have made me get the degree anyway. Supply and demand, isn't it, really? And I was like the local person in here.
You probably did more business than they did.
Probably,
you know, that's
exactly.
the thing. Maybe the question should be, why did you want to become an actor? Or when did it get more serious? I mean, I suppose it's a whole ball of things that happen at roughly the same time.
Basically, I was in the corporate world in my 20s, was not enjoying it whatsoever, was not enjoying it. And I'd always wanted to get involved in doing it, but I just hadn't really sort of, you know, I was too busy going out, earning money, playing the whole corporate game, which of course is not just at work, but also going out afterwards, networking, and I just had it. I saw this course called Act Up. It's an Act Up course in London, and it was primarily people who wanted to go to drama school. So I thought, you know what, sorry, I'm just going to kind of do it. And for the first month of doing it, I was like a fish out of water. I found it really hard. And then I had a moment. I was doing this scene, and it all just came together. I was lost in the kind of scene, lost in the moment. And the director and we were just working through this scene and making it like, instead of being two people saying words, making faces, two people actually in there living this moment, living this space, this moment in kind of time. And a friend of mine said, I knew when you got the bug because you had that look in your eye. He was in the audience looking at it, and he said, I could tell suddenly your face changed from being really stressed out, overthinking it all,
to enjoying it,
to enjoying it and loving it. Yeah. And then when I was loving it, I'd then get obsessed about it. And within 6 months, I'd left my kind of job and thought, that's it, I'm going to do it full time.
I'm friends with like an acting troupe in another country, and sometimes I see some of the things that they do, like getting to know your body, laying there, or having people, you know, explore your body, not in a sexual way, but you know, getting used to touch and things like that. Yeah. I always felt, I mean, that always seemed quite early on in learning to act. Yeah. And I kind of always felt that was a bit of a barrier to, for me, I'm a bit squeamish about that sort of thing.
Yeah. But the whole thing is almost opening yourself up, letting yourself be vulnerable, and knowing your body, knowing your kind of movements. I remember when we were doing this course, we did this thing where we were given a character, and you had to go, okay, imagine that character as an animal. Now this is the whole thing that goes on that everyone thinks is just like wanky.
What is that? Yeah.
Acting classes, but it just helps you then add to it. Say you're a lion, you're a bear. So you start acting bigger, you start doing that. If you're a smaller creature, you know what I mean? Just to help you get into that kind of mindset. Everybody's got different techniques, okay, in sort of bringing the character to kind of life. But for me, the whole thing is, I believe you read it, you see it in your mind's eye, and then try and be that character, and it's whatever it takes. There are people who go very, very method. Okay, it's not my thing.
So before the director says action,
Yeah.
you're Adrian. As soon as I say action, you're into character.
Well, I've got to prepare myself loads, right? Because if I don't, I will stutter and stammer my way through, okay? I've got to be as prepared as possible so that when someone does say action, I can go and kind of do it. But I mean, when I've got a script, I will learn that script so much and do it so many different styles and different ways, from slow, fast, put on a voice here, just do it every single way, knowing full well that when I actually go to perform in front of camera, it's not going to be anything like what I've done, but because I've done it in so many different ways, I'm comfortable with the text. I hate having text in front of me. I find text actually hinders me.
And what, as in the lines?
Yeah, I hate.
Yeah, so for me, I always think, how do you learn lines? I suppose if you're, depends what you're doing, I guess. If you're on television, like
no, it's the same. I see it as the same process as whether you're on TV or doing a.
But if you fluff your lines on TV, it's a cut. But if you fluff your lines in front of 150 people on stage, well, that's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is that a lot of the time, the audience don't know you've fucked up. Only you know you've fucked up. Musicians, when they're in a band, somebody do a thingy note here, they'll know, but the crowd is so into it, they're not noticing the small sort of things, unless it's a major cock up.
Yeah, like a freeze, like your corpse or something.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's other people who can come in and sort of help you out, and it just makes that performance new for that day. Don't be scared to mess up, because sometimes that's when you find the greatest things. I saw this interview with David Bowie, and he said that if you're doing like a riff, if you mess it up, do that 4 or 5 times, then you've got a whole verse, a whole thing. And it's just, and that's where sometimes the magic happens. I mean, most of the most popular lines in movie and TV are from or from improvs.
It's funny, I remember when they were making Back to the Future, you know, Christopher Lloyd, who played Doc in that. Yeah. Apparently, he would always go, when they were doing just rehearsals with the cameras running, he would always go more mental. Yeah. And then when they called action properly, he'd tone it down. Yeah. So they always used his rehearsals.
Really?
Because he was more mental.
Yeah.
And you always remember that character, don't you? He's just big. This energy about him.
Exactly.
That wasn't there when he knew they were recording.
Yeah, I mean, I always find that when I've got my close-ups, I never feel as comfortable as when it's someone else's close-ups or someone else's shots, because you do feel the kind of glare. You sort of learn after a period of time, and if you've been really, really busy, your mindset completely changes. But if you haven't sort of done anything for a while, you can feel the glare of the camera more. But it's interesting you say that about Christopher Lloyd, because when I personally find when I go to a casting, it's best to go into a casting giving the biggest version that you possibly can, because then they can bring you kind of down. The worst thing is going in there being timid and small, because it's harder to bring up. You can
they don't know
overdo
what you
it.
Could be.
Exactly, but you can overdo it. You can go in there too big, and you're like, okay, well, this guy's I'll get out. But but you could learn from experience there. It's good, and also sometimes it's good just to get all the madness out of you to actually do a bit more of a believable sort of version. Because especially on TV and kind of film, you can't be as big as you are on a stage. But sort of like, and that's the difference between TV and theatre. In theatre, you are performing to the person there, but the person over there. In TV, you're performing to there and there or there. And that's where sort of the little sort of you can say more from a little facial gesture than what you can from like a 2-page monologue.
For me, doing films, I mean, I've done films as a hobby for many years, lighting for me is more fun than any other. And
there's an art to lighting.
Yeah, there is. I love it. In fact, I will admit to you now that I've slightly cocked up the lighting today, because what I call interest lighting is right behind your head, and usually I'd have it to the left of your head. But there you go. It's kind of cool, really, talking about this. I interviewed this girl last. Sorry, I shouldn't say it like that, but I interviewed a young lady last week. She had no idea what we were doing and didn't understand, but you could tell. She said, you're like a little kid when you're setting up a lighting rig, and it's so much fun. I much prefer doing lighting than any other part of creation.
And James, the whole thing, when you're working with people who have got passion that gives you passion. It makes you work more, you know. And also, when you've got a passion for something, you're showing your sort of vulnerabilities as well, because you're going there, you're giving yourself stuff out, which means you as an actor and other people involved will give so much more. You know, I'd rather work with an amateur with passion than a professional who's just blasé, who's just that thingy, you know.
What's it like working on a film set? What's it like?
It depends what your role is. If you're sort of one of the main cast, then you're treated like a fucking god. Yeah, everything's done, everyone's going around you. The attention's on you completely, okay? So you've got to handle that kind of pressure. And
even off camera, even with how you behave to the kid who brings you a cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean,
stories must get out.
I mean, there are people who are notorious arseholes about it all. But then again, a lot of these people are under a lot of pressure. All the pressure's on them, and it's just the way that those people deal with it, that they put this shield around them, going, fuck off. You know, I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to show my kind of moment there. So I'm just going to be an arsehole to everyone, just to keep that sort of barrier. I don't agree with that, but you can see the people who are going to do it. So you just keep distance.
Well, we'll go back a tiny little bit because we probably haven't quite covered it. How did anyone encourage you to get into acting?
No.
Did anyone discourage you?
Yeah.
And what did they say?
They were just saying, you're too old. You've gone past there. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff.
So how old were you?
I was 30. I was, you know,
Well, that's not fair. I'm 38.
Yeah, but this, yeah, I mean, kind of, but that's how people's mindset of it all is. You know, everyone's sort of like, you know, there's, some people's mindset is that when you're 20, you start, you know, I mean, that's it. You set what you're going to do for the rest of your kind of life. I mean, for example, I've got my stepdaughters doing their A-levels and their GCSEs and going on to university. And you're asking kids of that age to make a decision that what they want to do for the rest of their kind of lives. Yeah. I mean, I've had so many jobs. I've been a butler, okay, at King's College. I've sorted out lettuces on the land settlement. I've worked in as a financial advisor, as a mortgage advisor, worked in IT, web designer dealer, you know, all these range of kind of jobs. And I think for a number of them, especially in the IT world, I thought that's going to be me the rest of my kind of life. But no, you know, and the weirdest thing is that in the most insecure job I could possibly do out of all of those is the one I love the most and the one I've actually kept doing. And the one I would say I've been the most financially viable in, weirdly enough. So
that's crazy. I mean, I always sort of think that acting must be really hard to get into, and then also to convert it from getting into it to actually earning money.
But that's the thing, is that if you do it for the money, you're not going to be happy. Okay, if you do it for the love of doing it, then the money kind of comes. Yeah. And also, I would do anything. Okay, I didn't train as an actor in the conventional way. I was very lucky to be cast in things and learn on the kind of job. Now, I've made loads of cock-ups. Don't worry, I mean, I've had big name directors scream at me for stuff that I've kind of done. You know, I've been fired from jobs. I've done the whole thing. But the only thing that's kept me going is that I actually really love what I'm kind of doing. And that, you know, and there's that old saying, find a job that you love to kind of do. You never work a day in your life. And since I've been doing this, I wouldn't say I've really worked. I mean, even doing what I'm doing right now, this not work.
So was there a realisation that acting could be a career? I mean, what was the tipping point? You're doing it for the love of it, but what were you like, hold on, were you on a certain job? Yeah, no, well, the tipping point was I was working in my IT job and I was getting offers for work. Paid work, and what I was doing when I was like working in the corporate world, every evening and weekend and my holidays was just doing acting jobs. But I was getting offered stuff and I couldn't take any more holiday time. And I thought, you know what, I just hate this. And luckily enough, I was financially viable, where it's a case of, you know what, you can starve this out for a bit. So what was the tipping point? Yeah, so earning more money, not having the time to dedicate it to acting. Yeah, not having the time to kind of do it. And I thought, you know what, I'm not liking my job. You know, I'm loving this. I want to do this full time because it's a buzz. Like, I can imagine, like, you know, from what I know about you, you were doing your plumbing work, and then suddenly you started getting into your podcast and other stuff, and suddenly it was a case of, you know what, I love this. I want to do this.
So it was that sort of tipping point there of realising, you know what, this is what I really love. I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
And I think that is, well, once you get that, and then literally, I think, I was saying earlier, in that class, I got that sort of little sort of moment, and then I thought, this is what I want to do the rest of my kind of life. And then I was getting job offers coming in that I couldn't do. Then it's right, in 6 months, that's it. Sorry, mate, I'm leaving, really.
Stage or screen then? I mean, you
Screen.
Every time.
Screen.
Have you done a lot of stage, like Shakespeare?
A little bit. No, I was actually accepted to the RADA Shakespeare course, but I then decided to use the money to get an American visa to go and spend time in Los Angeles.
What? Chasing the dream in Los Angeles or just travelling?
Yeah, chasing the kind of dream.
What was it like going there?
Well, the frustrating thing is that I got my visa, went over there, sorted out an agent, was organising it all, and my mother, her Parkinson's got a lot worse, so it was a conscious decision. Right, I've got to come back and deal with my mother, really. And, I was doing a few bits and pieces here, and I must admit, for a time I was a little bit upset and bitter about it all, because I had to sort of give up what I was kind of doing. But but then again, I think if I'd have gone out there, I'd have felt so bad and guilty that I wouldn't have enjoyed the whole experience anyway. But
would you try and go out there again now?
I mean, from my experience of going out there, you've got to move out there completely. If you've got nothing behind you, no name here whatsoever, because a number of my friends have done it. You've got to move out there, going, I'm going to become an American citizen, live there, because there is plenty of work there. Okay, I think I would. My whole view now, I want to concentrate on doing good stuff here and in Europe, push myself a lot more, and then if things work out for me, where I get in something big, where then I would consider it definitely. But right now I just want to get back to doing good work with good people.
Because a lot of the time I hear about people going out to LA, it seems like vacuous, hard, just treated like a slave almost type of life as an actor. Is that true? Or is it just the same?
I mean, they're far more serious over there than what they are here. I mean, or that could just be me really. But I remember going to some castings there. There was no chatting in the casting room. Everyone was deadly serious. Whilst in the UK, even if it's a serious thing, people would generally try and relax a little bit more. So you chat a little bit, you go through your kind of lines, but you chat a little bit more just to relax there. But in LA, it was intense. And you'd be there with a lot of sort of like showbiz mums and dads and that as well with their kids, and you see the parents are far more stressful than the kind of kids and that. But I mean, I did go to I did do a bit of training at the Groundlings Theatre School there, which is like this big improv place where Will Ferrell trained, Jack Black trained, Lisa McConaughey I think trains. Lisa McCarthy trained there, and that was fascinating. That was a lot of fun there. But then again, I was someone from the UK trying to do improv in the US, and there's certain nuances there which I didn't really understand.
Yeah, cultural differences.
Yeah. All I knew was about what I'd seen on kind of TV, not the sort of cultural things in LA. So I was a little bit I improv something from Only Fools and Horses there, and they had no idea what I was doing. So it's the first thing that came to my kind of head, just going, well, okay, and of course they're very, very nice, but in a blunt kind of way. So yeah, it's very good, but didn't understand what the fuck you were doing.
Which film would you most like to have been in, and in which role? So I mean, what would I? For me, I would have liked to have played Daniel Day-Lewis's character in There Will Be Blood.
Right, that's such a tough one, that is, because I've got such an array of films I like for many different reasons. First thing that came to my head was Deer Hunter. I don't have a set answer for that. When you said that, that's the first film that came into my head. Yeah. Now, if you were to ask me that
tomorrow,
question, tomorrow it'd be another film.
Has working in the industry, like as an actor, seeing how these things are made, has it tarnished
your... Yeah. I can be watching a film, watching a TV show, and if it's a little bit crap, I'm immediately analysing everything. I'm sort of thinking, my mind goes. If I'm not engrossed in the performance, then I'm thinking about the technicalities, and I'm analysing what the actors are kind of doing. Like I can be watching a scene, if I'm bored of it, I'm thinking, right, how many camera angles did they use for this
Where
scene?
are the lights?
Yeah.
What are the lights doing?
Exactly. Well, okay, lights. Okay,
lights
that's
always
your
for
game.
me. Constantly, it ruins
Yeah.
my wife's experience of anything. I just say, oh God, I'd have lit that bit differently.
Yeah.
But for me as well, music, like having the music tell you what to think. Oh God, it's really
real
me.
interesting story. I read the Gene Wilder autobiography, and he was given the option to direct a film. He had no idea. So he phones up his best friend Mel Brooks and goes, Mel, okay, to direct a film, what do you recommend I kind of do? And Mel Brooks said to him, turn off all of the sound, all of the music, and watch the film, and see if that can still tell the story. Okay.
Yeah, that's quite a good idea.
So that was a fascinating thing to see because there's no tone of voice of the actors, just how their body language is moving. There's no music, as you quite rightly said, telling you what to think.
I just love minimal music in films.
Yeah.
Well, think about that then. Have you ever thought you could direct a film? Have you directed anything?
I haven't directed. I've co-written a number of films and also plays that have been performed. I've been asked to. I've been a producer on a few things. I've worked as a second AAD, production manager. Directing a film, I haven't really got round to kind of doing it yet.
You've worked with a lot of people already who are sort of famous, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small industry as well, isn't it?
Tiny, yeah.
Is there anyone you haven't worked with yet you want to work with?
If somebody who I've wanted to work with, but I never will do, is Rick Mail.
Of course, yeah.
Because he's just.
The minute I was going to ask why.
Because he's the funniest, the funniest man. Of course, he's dead now. I worked with Adrian Annis.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy. Not as manic as what you kind of think.
Yeah.
I've been really fortunate because I've been cast by Danny Boyle, Polikoff, worked with Ron Howard. All these people were directed by them. I don't know really. I just want to my whole thing right now because of sort of like I went on it. I spoke about it a bit earlier. My mum dealing with the Parkinson's and that. I took a little bit of a break from the industry and now sort of slowly getting back into doing stuff that I want to do. I just want to work with good scripts and good people, and and sometimes the people who are seen as the big stars aren't necessarily the greatest actors or the greatest people to kind of work with. So, and it's all about getting the work forward really, and doing the work and doing what you're doing, show, and then move forward from there really.
Now there's some roles, right, that you not normally conventionally play because of, I don't know, like your age, your race or gender or whatever, but that you do really want to play.
I've been quite lucky in a sense that because my training was just me working as much as possible, I've done a lot of films, student films, and films that just have gone nowhere. But I've had the experience of playing these different characters. No one's going to employ me to be part of a big multi-blockbuster film right now because no one's going to come to see me, okay? But and some of these are great roles. But then again, I can work in a student film or a low-budget film and do these kind of roles. Maybe a romantic lead would be nice. I've only done that
Kate Winslet in
a few
Titanic?
times. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I've only done that a few times. A romantic lead would be quite nice. I've never done real romantic leads.
Anyway, romantic films, smolty films. What films make you cry? What film always makes you cry?
At the end of Saving Private Ryan, when he's at the grave and he goes, "Have I?"
That's quite hard, isn't it?
That even thinking about it now wells me up.
I always cry at the first 20 minutes of Up, the film Up.
Oh God, yeah, that's a similar thing, isn't it? Yeah,
that kills me.
God. Yeah,
I watched it with my dad, which is kind of unusual because my dad's obviously a lot older, coming from it from a different age, different perspective. And we sat and watched it together, and my dad's, he grizzles at Winston Churchill speeches, he'll cry absolutely anything. And we both sat there just bawling our eyes out.
Yeah, that's a wonderful film, that is. And have you noticed that there's people are making far more animated films these days? And also in animation, especially if you look at stuff like Family Guy and American Dad, and especially South Park, your boundaries are a lot wider.
Yeah.
You can say and do anything in those kind of things. Well, if you try and do it in a
Well, you
real
can have a
life
10-minute fight with a chicken.
exactly. Exactly. But you can do so much more in those things than what you can do in live action, because you can say it's just almost cartoon characters saying it. Because
Well, have you done much cartoon work?
I've done a few voiceover bits and pieces, but actually, me and some friends from work, we were sitting down trying to do our own British version of American Dad, Family Guy kind of thing, and Rick and Morty, thinking of just how un-PC we can kind of be and how we can get away with it, really.
Would we get away with it over here? I think culturally our world's shrinking because of censorship and...
Yeah, definitely.
And, let's face it, woke people.
Oh yeah, oh God, yeah, I know, and yeah, and
You know.
but and that then has, and the other extreme effect then, don't you? You get the real sort of, National Front, the real extremists there who are going against that, because the woke people don't want to hear what these people are kind of saying. They're not given a voice, so then they speak louder. When really it's a case of you should at least hear what someone's saying. So too much censorship then creates the kind of problem.
I've got a question on it, but you kind of answered it already about what the acting process is like and how you feel minutes prior to like being on camera. But what about after being on camera? Does it take time to simmer down?
Oh God, yeah. Literally, if I've been working on a project for a good, even like a day or even a few days, even weeks and months, when you wrap that final wrap, it's like the worst hangover. Yeah, you miss it all. You're on a downer. It's like a drug. It really is. You're on the biggest downer, that you're just looking for another project. I mean, when I've been busy, I've always tried to kind of have a project to go after the next one, so I don't have that come down. Right, keep going, and then of course at the very end you're completely knackered anyway. You need some time off. But I like to go from job to kind of job, because I don't like that come down, and I love doing what I'm doing. I mean, what I'm working on right now is just basic, on a soap, basic background stuff. Doesn't mean anything to me. But on Tuesday I did a job where I was far more involved, proper acting thing, and I was just on a buzz. And it's a buzz I hadn't had for a while, for a few months. I just changed completely. My voice changed. I'm more articulate. I'm more passionate about things. My sort of whole everything. My body just feels different. But I think that's when you do something you love and you enjoy doing it, you do change. You're not the same person. Compared to doing something that you get by doing or you don't like doing.
What are your long-term career goals?
I just want to work on good scripts with good people, and whatever happens. There's been times when I was young, and especially the LA thing, where I've been frustrated and I've really tried to push it, and it's almost like you're trying to grab water. It slips through your fingers more. Just concentrate on what you like and what you kind of love, and opportunities will come your way. If you try and push it too much, I've found you just end up getting more and more frustrated. If you concentrate on the simple things, on the art, then things come to you.
I think in a way
Fate, really.
that could be for wider life, couldn't it?
Yeah.
In any job.
Yeah.
And society. Are there things you wish you'd known before you got into acting?
To trust myself more. That's probably the main thing. To go in there, to trust what you're going to do, and I mean, it's sort of, yeah.
Trust your instinct on
Trust
choosing
my
a script.
instincts. Trust my instincts. Yeah. Trust my instincts with the whole thing. For not just the decisions you make in a character, but instincts in going for a script, working with kind of certain people. And it's easy to get blinded in this business. Blinded by people saying stuff to you. Oh, we've got this, we've got that, and you want to believe them. You really do. But a lot of the time, people, as we were saying earlier, who shout the loudest are on the extremes, and arrogance is loud, confidence is silent, and sometimes it's, with a bit more life experience now, I can see it a little bit more. But saying that, I'll probably still make loads of mess ups and fuck ups, but it's good being in the position to be able to kind of do them.
Yeah, and life is about, you know, messing up, fucking up.
Exactly.
You'll never improve without failing.
Yeah, God, definitely.
No one ever improved by getting everything right the first time.
Definitely.
And messages to anyone else going into acting, what would you recommend they do? Anyone who's thinking about going into this industry?
Right, I would say important things, trust yourself to learn your lines, because then it's all, you know, a simple thing like that. And 3, just try and get chemistry with the people that you're working with.
And enjoy being with them.
Yeah, exactly. Try and get on that, because chemistry, you can see chemistry on the camera. You really can. When people are trying to fake a relationship, it never works. You know, and sometimes that comes from somebody wanting to outshine someone else, when actually you're just making both of you look bad. So trust yourself, learn your lines, and concentrate on getting good chemistry.
Thank you very much, Adrian.
Thank you very much, James. My pleasure.
Right, we'll get a hero shot of you now.
Okay, mate.
I hope you enjoyed this interview with Adrian Annis. Thanks, Adrian, for your time. Check out this next video here with my friend Polina. She's a Ukrainian refugee and her story is absolutely amazing. Please also click the subscribe button and the like to help this brand new channel reach a new audience. Thank you.